Check, check. There we are. Just had to fix one minor thing. I am loud, I'm not that loud. So, officially, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Papillion Area Concert Band's tribute to the first 50 years of the city of Papillion. So, we are celebrating our 150th anniversary this year of 2020. I'm Mark Thornburg. I have the honor and privilege of serving as your host, mainly because the band doesn't trust me with an instrument. They really shouldn't trust me with a microphone either, but let's just see what happens. So, music and tidbits of history will be shared with you as to what was happening and transpiring and making the news the latter part of the 1800s and early 1900s when our city was just getting organized in Sarpy County. No, we're still not quite right. Something's not, I can't quite put my finger on it. Oh, well, you guys probably figured it out already. While the stage does look rather full, it's not completely full. Or more appropriately, it's not complete without a certain individual that stands on that podium out there. So maybe we should take care of that. Because, you know, although there is the saying that the show must go on, this show, and countless others before it, do not go on without Ken Moser. In fact, yes. And I think it's not an exaggeration to say that the last 33 years of the PAC Band's existence, the last 16, 17 years of the Sumter Amphitheater's existence, decades of the rich cultural history of Papillion just don't exist without Ken Moser. So let's fix that. And let's give a warm welcome to our maestro, mentor, and friend, Mr. Ken Moser. Okay, now the show can go on. So, in 1814, over 50 years before Papillion was born, Francis Scott Key wrote the words to the Star-Spangled Banner. It was later set to music by composer John Stafford Smith. In 1916, when Papillion was almost 50 years old, President Woodrow Wilson announced that it should be played at all official events. It was adopted as our national anthem on March 3rd, 1931. So please rise and join us in singing our national anthem. You sound great. You know, we should sing together sometime. Foreshadowing, prepare yourself for the end of the concert. And keep June 21st free. We'll talk about that later. So, let's get this official. And please join me in welcoming Mayor David Black with his greetings from the city of Papillion.
official kickoff for the Papillion 150. We're going to hear from Judge O'Neill a little bit later, but a number of people have been talking about the 150, but it was Bob that really grabbed onto it and got some people together, created an executive committee, and got it going. So, Judge, just officially thank you very much for everything you've done for this community, including the 150, and how honored to have the PAC Band. And one of the things we wanted to do with this is, with the 150, is raise awareness of all of the great civic groups we've got. We talked about having some type of event every single month, but then to say, oh, go create a new event, that's a lot of work, and I'm fundamentally lazy, so I don't want to do work. So we figured, well, we got all these civic groups, let's tag along on their events. And really what the intent is if there's a civic group like the Lions Club with the Spaghetti Feed that's always been going, let's make it an official 150 event, hopefully get more people there, raise awareness of that civic group, help that civic group, and then maybe even some other people maybe join it or something. So I would encourage you throughout the year, all the official 150 events, please come out and support them, because it's not just the 150 one-time event, you're actually helping all of the civic groups. And Judge, we want to thank you for everything. And I was out talking to some third graders at Walnut Creek the other day, and a little bit about today. We were talking about history, and I had to do a little bit of studying for some of their questions, and it really put it into context for me. 150 years ago in Papillion's history, that's just post-Civil War. Abraham Lincoln, post-Civil War, the Railroad Act, and shortly after that, the first main line of the UP's coming across. And the first line was downtown Papillion. We are a railroad town because of that. So you think 150 years, it wasn't that long ago, and we're talking just after post-Civil War. And this is about the first 50 years. I think that gives you a sense of where we're at in history. Thank you and welcome.
The Now, before Papillion was surveyed and platted in 1870, the most famous songwriter of the 19th century was Stephen Foster. Now, he died at the very tender age of 37, but he still composed over 200 songs and was known as the father of American music. Many of his songs were sung in the homes and gatherings of our community of Papillion. So let's reflect back now to those days and enjoy some of his well-known compositions. Doing double duty today. Actually, the pay for tech crew is better than the pay for MC, so you know the angle I'm going with.
You all set?
Yes, I'm good. So, back to the narration. Papillion has always depended on the surrounding rural area for its existence, and most of the local businesses were established for that purpose. Now, according to this official state atlas of Nebraska in 1885, the earliest farm purchase in the area was that of Herman Weiss for 240 acres, which was valued at $50 an acre. It's probably worth just a little bit more than that now, but that was the earliest farm purchase that we could find. Now, about that time, 1891, the most famous song of the decade, and some say the century, was written by Charles Harris. This is the story of an uncle who tells his niece why he never married and the heartbreak that he endured. So I'll share with you now the sad story of After the Ball is Over.
Beg for a story, do Uncle please. Why are you single? Why live alone? Have you no babies? Have you no home? I had a sweetheart years ago. Where she is now, you soon will know. List to the story, I'll tell it all. I've believed her faithless after the ball. After the ball is over, after the break of dawn, after the dancers leaving, after the stars are gone, many a heart is aching. If you could read them all, many the hopes that have vanished after the ball. Bright lights were flashing in the grand ballroom. Softly the music playing sweet tunes. There came my sweetheart, my love, my own. I wish some water, leave me alone. When I returned, dear, there was a man kissing my sweetheart as lovers can. Down fell the glass, dear, shattered and small, just as my heart was after the ball. After the ball is over, after the break of morn, after the dancers leaving, after the stars are gone, many a heart is aching. If you could read
While I'm performing my stage crew duties, I'll let Larry pass, because I'm breaking a bit of a trust. It's always an honor and a thrill to get to sing with this fine organization. So when Ken asked me, of course I said yes. And then he told me the song that I'd be singing, and I love old songs, love old music, and so I eagerly went online, internet is great, and looked up every arrangement and every recording that I could find of that piece, only to find it was originally written for a soprano. Full disclosure, I'm no soprano. And every arrangement that I could find was still in that key. So I sadly spoke to Ken again and said, I greatly appreciate the offer. Don't know that I can do that. But Ken said, not to worry, we're having a special arrangement done by Larry McTaggart. And you might know Larry, he's the guy that was just directing that. So Larry got in touch and he said, hey, I realize that as a bass you're looking at this and sing a song that's the verse is in one octave, the chorus is in another octave, and it's pitched for a soprano, so it starts in the range for a bass of, I don't think so, and goes clear to the range of, are you kidding me? But he said, not to worry, you just tell me the range you're comfortable with, and I'll make it happen. As if it was just that simple. Because if you know anything about music theory, it's not that simple, and as a singer, had the opportunity to perform in public 50 years, that's never happened to me. No one's ever changed and altered an entire composition for an orchestra or band. I mean, that's a lot of parts to rewrite, and they did it. And so not only is that awesome, and Larry's awesome, but it's probably in a key now that as a musician, you probably know, and as these folks probably know, it changed to a key that's maybe not the simplest and easiest to play, but they didn't bat an eye, they just made it just that simple. So I tell you all this, I break Larry's trust because he said, you know, don't make a big deal out of it. So if you could, let's just keep this between us and then it'll be okay. But I tell you all this just to brag on the people on this stage because they have such talent, such professionalism, and such awesomeness. Can we give them another round of applause, please? Alrighty, now, let me figure out where I'm at. Alrighty, now, so, more than a decade before the town of Papillion incorporated, the settlers in the area began to form churches. And the earliest congregation is believed to have been Methodist. We might be wrong, but that's what the history tells us. The members met in dugouts because of the lack of available lumber to build proper homes. In time, Presbyterians, Lutherans, and Catholics began to meet in various houses or public buildings, and one of those businesses was Sanders Hall, where services were held upstairs. That very same building still stands today on the corner of 22nd and Washington, and is now Fraley's Creamery and Confections. The owner is here! How awesome is that? So, come on, be honest. When I said 2nd in Washington, were you kind of like, But when I said the ice cream place, you're like, oh yeah. And so I'm not judging, I'm just sensing a kindred spirit, obviously. So yes, gratuitous product placement. In 1874, an issue of the Papillion Times stated that both the Presbyterian and Methodist churches met and held Sunday services in the hall on alternate weeks. And members of the orchestra said that there was actually another church that joined them in the alternating schedule along with the Masons. That must be why eating ice cream there is such a divine pleasure. Subtle, that's me, yes. So during this time of churches being established in our community, the Shakers were organizing the eastern states, or in the eastern states, and it spread to Midwestern settlements. One of their most famous songs was Simple Gifts. And the PAC Band will now play an arrangement by Anne McGinty of this well-known melody. So you've heard about Papillion's history. Now let's hear a little bit about these guys' history. A February 12th, 1903 Papillion Times article reads, "Papillion has a band again." A meeting was held Tuesday evening and 12 players assigned. Weekly meetings will be held for practices with the intention to give weekly concerts during the summer. A March 19th, 1903 article followed stating, "The newly organized Papillion Band is progressing nicely and will be in shape to give us those promised summer evening concerts when the time comes. The boys devote 2 evenings a week to practice." Another article the following month later reads, "The band boys surprised Papillion people by giving an open-air concert Monday evening. Considering that the fact that about half the band is new and that last evening was their first appearance in public, the boys furnished some good music which was much appreciated. Druggist Curtis and Merchant Spearman showed their appreciation by treating the band boys to cigars." We don't know who's treating the band boys today, but obviously I've been fairly shamelessly transparent in my request, so fat boy wants some ice cream, what can I say? So, skip on ahead to the owners of the Washington Post, another somewhat well-known newspaper besides the Papillion Times. Now, they requested that the leader of the United States Marine Band, John Philip Sousa, compose a march for them. And the Washington Post March was first performed as part of the award ceremony on the grounds of the Smithsonian, June 15th, 1889. Next to his Stars and Stripes Forever, this march is Sousa's most widely known. What a great piece of music. I was backstage just bouncing around like a fool. So Sousa not only was a great composer of music, he was also an outspoken advocate for the live performance of music. And Sousa was concerned that the new invention of the phonograph by Thomas Edison in 1877 would actually affect the performance of live music in our country. Now, he appeared before a Senate hearing in 1906, testifying that the phonograph was discouraging Americans from performing themselves. Yes, we got trouble, my friends. Right here. Sorry, that's a different era. Not to worry, our very own Papillion Area Concert Band discounts Sousa's concern. Now, they boast over 500 musicians in the past 33 years, serving as members of the PAC Band, making music themselves, and even playing his marches, so JPS need not have worried. Actually, quick poll, how many of you out there actually play a musical instrument, or have in your life? Awesome. Follow-up question, how many of you actually have the dreaded phonograph in your home? There actually are some out there. Okay, but I think it was the same people, so we're okay. We did dodge that bullet. That's awesome. Okay, so in 1888, another composer was born, the most famous American composer and lyricist, and gave us a wealth of popular music, both live and recorded. Irving Berlin's life spanned 100 years and boasted over 1,000 songs, from ballads to dance numbers, novelty tunes, numerous musicals, and patriotic selections. Today, the PAC Band Saxophone Quartet will play for your enjoyment Irving Berlin's Blue Skies. So at this time, we'll give you a little bit more background about the celebration Papillion 150. please join me in welcoming the Honorable Bob O'Neill, who is serving as the chairman of Papillion 150. Judge Bob O'Neill.
On behalf of the Papillion 150 Committee, I'd like to thank all of you for attending our inaugural events today. The Spaghetti Feed and the PAC Band concert serve as the first of the bookends of a host of events that will occur over the next year. For about 8 or 9 months, the Papillion 150 Committee has been meeting. We've got subcommittees for all kinds of different things, and we have got a host of activities that we're going to be in charge of or offering to the public over this next year. I'd like to highlight some of those for you. First of all is a public art project that has started from the Papillion Arts Council, and that's the Butterfly Bench Project. There will be about 33 butterfly benches located around the committee, each with various artists displaying their artwork on those benches. The benches themselves were designed by a local Papillion resident, Al Ray, who's done a wonderful job, and you can see the first of those benches outside the library, and there'll be a lot more to come, as well as an event to show those to the public. A second public arts project is the Butterfly Butterfly Effect Project, and that is a project in which there will be murals of butterflies all around the community, hopefully 12 different murals around the community. The first of those is located on Brownies, and it is a national program by which if you have pictures taken in front of the Butterfly Effect murals and send them to the Butterfly Effect folks, there can be contributions and donations to local charities. So we're very excited about that. Third project that I'd like to talk about just very briefly is a butterfly habitat project, which will be located by Veterans Park. And that will not only be a butterfly habitat, but it'll be a butterfly habitat in the shape of a butterfly. And so we're very excited about that project, and hopefully that will come online in the spring. There's a host of other things that we'll be doing over the years. There are going to be a children's play based upon Papillion's history. There will be a Mark Twain recreation that will be done in the fall. There will hopefully be a ending project on New Year's Eve Day, which will be a family project that we hope will be able to be available to everyone. So lots of different things. If you go on papillion150.org, you will see the list of events. They're changing every day. We're adding more events to our program, and hopefully we're going to have a really wonderful way of celebrating the 150th birthday of this wonderful community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman O'Neill, for all of your work and all of your committee's work. Tin Pan Alley was the name given to the collection of New York City music publishers and songwriters who dominated the popular music of the United States from 1885 to the 1920s. Now, some say the origin of the name is a derogatory reference to the sound of so many pianos playing and comparing them to the banging of tin pans. Others claim it actually rose from songwriters modifying their pianos to provide a more percussive sound. So what was happening in Papillion during this span of time? It was a booming town with many businesses flourishing, and it was not uncommon to see 14 trains pass through town every day. The Papillion Roller Mill opened in 1890, producing 75 barrels of flour each day, every day, 365 days a year. A new train depot was completed in 1900. Land prices skyrocketed, clear up to $150 an acre. There was a new water system in 1908 for the cost of $25,000. That was a welcomed improvement, along with electric lights coming that same year. An interurban street railway came from Omaha in 1911 for transportation to downtown Papillion. Yes, many improvements were being made, but the beauty and mystique of the creek giving Papillion its name also had a history of giving the town some of its worst disasters. The first of these was on May 30th, 1903, when torrential rains sent the creek overflowing its banks, washing away many of the planked sidewalks, and the flour mill that I earlier mentioned was moved from the side of Washington Street off its foundation and left sitting in the middle of Washington Street. Many basements were also flooded, including the Papillion Times, which was located in the basement of the Clark Building. Well, on a brighter note, in 1913, members of the Papillion Orchestra made arrangements to give a grand ball in the Opera House and probably played some of the melodies you'll hear in the PAC Band selection of Tin Pan Alley. Well, folks, we hope you enjoyed the first 50 years of Papillion as the PAC Band presented today the beginnings of the celebration of Papillion 150. The PAC Band, along with a newly formed community chorus called the 150 Singers, will be presenting a combined concert as a finale to Papillion Days on Sunday, June 21st at 7:30 at the aforementioned Sumter Amphitheater. Ken, do you want to mention anything about that? Just a little bit, okay. Okay, I'll give up the mic for just a little bit.
First of all, I would like to have you thank Larry McTaggart, guest conductor, who wrote the arrangement for also narrator singer Mark Thornburg. Great to surround yourself with talent. I just love that. I also like to thank Caitlin and the crew that worked with the lights and the sound here. As you can see, there are different cameras and things around. Becky Holt with her crew from the high school here, the video lab, they're doing the historical data throughout the year of this year. So they're on the 150 historical thing. So they're making a documentary of everything that's happening, so that they're doing their documentary. So thank you to you, students, for a really good job. Also, I want to thank Mr. Keller and all the staff here. They're very, very cordial for us to use this facility and with all the equipment, and so it takes a lot of work. So thanks to all the students. Graduate stuff here and get back. Thank you. I would like to have the board of directors stand up and start. The board of directors stand up here. They are the. When we have a group like this, we are strictly a voluntary group. Everybody up here volunteers. So all the funds we get are strictly donated. Oh, by the way, there's a can in the back. And I'd like to especially thank our president, Rick Turner. Rick, stand up. He's not only our president, but all the years he's done the program. Our next concert will be on Father's Day, that's June 21st. The PAC Band always does a finale of the Papillion days, and that's this year on the 21st of June. This year is going to be something very, very special, something different, something that fits right into the 150 celebration. It was mentioned by several people, and I won't name any names because I don't want to blame them. We'll give them credit. But on that concert, we're going to do something very, very special. It's going to be at the Sumter Amphitheater. And the Papillion-La Community Theater is sponsoring a 150 Singers Chorus. This is a community chorus. Anyone can sign up for it, 19 and above, only high school, but and above. If you want to sing in the community chorus. If you want information about the chorus, how it's going to be organized, what the rehearsal dates are going to be, and any information, Georgie Sturfield from our board of directors at the Papillion-La Community Foundation, Papillion-La Community Theater, Community Foundation, she'll be back in the lobby with any information that you may want involving this community chorus. There'll be about 6 rehearsals. Part of them are going to be just a chorus alone. We have directors and pianists that are going to be involved with that. The PAC Band is also going to be involved in that concert, along with the chorus, doing some things themselves. The chorus will do some things themselves. And we have a direct line to a very famous composer that happens to be on stage. Larry McTaggart so graciously said he would arrange and write music for that particular concert. Some of it will pertain to the history of Papillion. Some of it will be other types of music that fit that era. The next concert is the next 50 years. It's after 1920 to 1970, so it will be in that venue. So if you want information or give information to other people, the second week in February, we're going to be starting to put out all the information. You can sign up then, and the deadline to be like March 29th. The first rehearsal would be in that area, March 29th. So it's going to be kind of neat. It's going to be some neat music to do. If you like singing, want to be involved in the 150 celebration, the community chorus, get the information out there in the hall. Georgie will be happy to answer any questions that you might have on that chorus. That will be in June. I don't think I have any more information to hand out, so I'll hand it back to Mark. Thank you all for coming. We really appreciate a very great audience like this, and to give us encouragement. Like I say, these people here, we have about 4 rehearsals. We get together, we play music, we do it for our own enjoyment basically, but we have an audience to share with. We like it so much more. So when you have 60 people that you never know, they just drop in on the sky, no auditions, there are some wonderful, wonderful people and musicians in there. So I thank them. Thank you.
So America the Beautiful. Its lyrics were written by Catherine Lee Bates in 1895, and Samuel Ward later set it to music and published it in 1910. That's the piece that we're going to close with. And we've printed the lyrics in your program, so if we could have the house lights up, and we'd like for you fine singers, because you've already proven yourselves, but this would just be a little bit further part of your audition for Papillion 150 Singers. If you would please rise and join in singing with the PAC Band.